Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something really practical. You sent over some practice questions for the Avaya IP Office 78202T exam, and we thought this would be a fantastic way to unpack some crucial knowledge about managing and troubleshooting these systems.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if that particular exam isn't, on your radar, what we dig into here will be incredibly useful for anyone working with Avaya IP Office.
Absolutely. Think of this as maybe a shortcut to understanding some of the core principles. By looking at these specific questions, we can extract some really valuable insights into how these systems function day to day, and importantly, how to keep them running smoothly.
Right.
So our mission today is really to go beyond just the right answers and uncover the actionable knowledge and maybe even a few surprising facts within these questions.
Right. Sounds good. Let's get started with our first question. It asks, which security feature must be enabled to prevent unauthorized remote access to the IP Office system? And the options are SSH, 2FA, RBAC, and TLS. When you look at those, what's the key element for preventing access in the first place?
Well, okay, on the surface, they all relate to security,
Okay.
right? SSH gives you that encrypted connection. 2FA adds that extra layer of verification when someone logs in, and TLS secures the communication channel itself.
hmm
But the most direct answer to preventing unauthorized access is role-based access control, or RBAC.
Okay, RBAC. Let's dig into that a bit.
Yeah.
Why is that the go-to for stopping someone from even getting in remotely if they shouldn't?
Well, what's really key about RBAC is that it's all about granting specific permissions based on a user's assigned role within the system. Think of it this way. Even if you have the strongest password, which, 2FA helps ensure,
Right.
and your connection is completely encrypted thanks to SSH and TLS, if a user account has been granted, say, administrator privileges that it shouldn't have, someone who compromises that account still basically has a master key.
Ah, okay.
RBAC is about making sure those powerful keys are only in the hands of those who genuinely need them for their specific tasks. It's about controlling who even has the ability to attempt remote access in the first place.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So it's less about securing the path once someone is trying to get in, and more about controlling who's allowed to even be on that path to begin with.
Exactly. SSH, 2FA, and TLS are essential layers of security, like having, strong locks and security cameras on your house.
Right.
But RBAC is like having a doorman who checks IDs right at the entrance.
Oh.
If your name's not on the list, meaning your role doesn't permit access, you're just not getting in, no matter how good your lockpicking skills or maybe stolen credentials might be.
Okay, that's a really clear way to put it. Let's move on then. Second question. Which tool is primarily used to capture and analyze network traffic for diagnosing VoIP-related issues in Avaya IP Office? The choices here are Avaya IP Office Manager, System Monitor, Wireshark, and WebLM License Manager. This feels like we're shifting gears now, from access control to troubleshooting what happens after someone's in a fire.
Precisely. And for peering into the actual communication happening on the network, the answer here is Wireshark.
Wireshark.
Right.
For those listening who maybe haven't encountered it much, what makes it the go-to tool when voice over IP issues pop up? Because, the other options sound like they'd be involved in managing the system somehow.
Yeah, they do. But imagine your network traffic as like a constant stream of letters being sent back and forth. Most tools just tell you maybe who sent the letter, who received it, perhaps the subject line.
hmm
Wireshark, on the other hand, it basically opens up the envelope and lets you read every single word inside. It's a dedicated network protocol analyzer. That means it captures and lets you inspect every single packet of data traveling across your network in minute detail. When you're dealing with tricky VoIP problems, calls dropping mysteriously, audio sounding garbled, maybe one-way audio issues, the root cause often lies within these network packets.
Right.
Wireshark lets you see exactly what's happening at that really fundamental level of communication.
So while the Avaya IP Office Manager gives you that overall system view, maybe, and the System Monitor shows you how the system itself is performing, they don't give you that granular look at the actual network conversation.
Exactly right. The IP Office Manager is your main administrative console. You use it for configuration and day-to-day management. System Monitor gives you real-time metrics on the IP Office system's health and performance, CPU usage, things like that. And WebLM, as we'll touch on later, strictly deals with licensing. None of them have the capability to dissect network traffic down to the individual packet level like Wireshark does. Actually, We had a case once where a customer was experiencing these intermittent quality issues driving them nuts.
Uh-huh.
The IP Office system logs looked totally clean. It wasn't until we fired up Wireshark that we discovered a faulty network cable was causing packet loss. That was the real culprit. That level of insight is often just indispensable.
It's a great example of how digging into the network traffic can reveal those hidden issues. Okay, question number 3. What is the correct process to upgrade Avaya IP Office Server Edition using Web Manager? The options are Manual CLI, Web Manager Update SSA, and IP Office Manager File Transfer. This sounds like it should be the most straightforward way, right?
It really is. The recommended and frankly simplest method for upgrading Avaya IP Office Server Edition is to use the Web Manager. You check for available upgrades through that interface and then apply the update directly from there.
So why is the Web Manager the preferred route for something as significant as a system upgrade?
Well, the Web Manager provides a single web-based interface specifically designed for managing the IP Office Server Edition, and that includes the entire upgrade process. It really streamlines everything. It walks you through the necessary steps in a controlled manner, and, importantly, it often automates many of the more complex background tasks involved. It's just built to be the most user-friendly and reliable way to perform these upgrades for most administrators.
So while someone with, say, deep technical knowledge could potentially do it through the command line or maybe other methods, the Web Manager is the standard approach for ease of use and, I guess, minimizing potential errors.
Precisely. It significantly reduces the risk of human error that can sometimes happen with manual command line operations, and it keeps the upgrade process within a supported and well-documented framework. It's generally the path of least resistance and definitely the one that Avaya actively supports and recommends.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now for question 4. After upgrading the IP Office 500 v2 system, which step is required to ensure all licenses remain valid? Choices are: reconfigure license server, restart and verify in WebLM, restore license files manually, and contact Avaya support. What's the critical action to take right after that upgrade finishes?
Okay, the absolute key step immediately following an upgrade of an IP Office 500 v2 system is to restart the system and then verify that all your licenses are active and valid within WebLM. That's the Web License Manager.
Why is that reboot so crucial for the licenses to be recognized after an upgrade? I mean, it seems like something you might overlook in the rush to get the system back online quickly.
Yeah, it's tempting, but when you perform an upgrade, fundamental parts of the system software are being replaced and updated, right?
Right.
A reboot is necessary to ensure that all these new software components, including the ones responsible for managing and validating licenses, are loaded correctly and properly initialized. Without that restart, the system might still be running on older processes and might not recognize the validity of your existing licenses under the new software version. It's kind of like installing new software on your computer. You almost always need to restart for it to work properly.
And WebLM is specifically where you go to confirm that the system has indeed recognized all those licenses after the reboot.
Exactly. WebLM is the central web-based tool that Avaya uses for managing all the licensing for your IP Office system. After you've rebooted the upgraded system, checking WebLM is your way of confirming that, yes, all your licenses are active, that the system is functioning with its full capabilities under the new software, and crucially, that you won't run into any unexpected licensing-related issues down the line. It's a really vital confirmation step.
Okay, we've arrived at our final practice question for today. Which monitoring tool provides real-time system status and call activity for Avaya IP Office? The options are Avaya 1X Portal, WebLM License Manager, System Status Application, SSA, and Avaya Diagnostic Server, ADS. Which of these gives you that live, sort of up-to-the-second view of what's happening?
For that immediate real-time visibility into the health of your Avaya IT Office system and what calls are currently active, you really need to use the System Status Application, often just called SSA.
What kind of information does SSA provide in that live view that the other tools, just don't offer in the same immediate way?
Well, SSA is specifically designed for this real-time monitoring. It gives you a live feed of critical information like the current status of all your phone extensions, a log of all active calls as they happen, any active alarms or warnings the system might be generating right now, and an overview of the system's resource utilization, things like CPU and memory usage.
Okay.
It's essentially your live dashboard for seeing exactly what's going on with your IP Office system at any given moment.
And the other options serve different, perhaps less immediate purposes then?
Precisely. As we've discussed, WebLM is focused entirely on licensing. Avaya 1X Portal is primarily a user-facing application. It provides features like call history and voicemail access for the end users.
Right.
And the Avaya Diagnostic Server, or ADS, is generally used for more in-depth, often historical diagnostics and troubleshooting, rather than that immediate live snapshot of system health and call activity that SSA provides. Think of SSA as the real-time vital signs monitor for your IP office.
So as we think about all the different pieces we've discussed, the security measures, the diagnostic tools, the upgrade processes, license management, real-time monitoring, what do you think stands out as perhaps the most significant ongoing challenge in keeping an Avaya IP Office system secure and running smoothly? It really highlights how all these elements have to work together effectively, doesn't it?
That's a great question to leave people with. Is it keeping up with security vulnerabilities? Is it managing the complexity of diagnosing intermittent VoIP issues? Or maybe just ensuring licenses stay compliant through upgrades? They all interact. It's definitely something to think about where the biggest pressure point usually lies.